Hello, today we are going to have a little bit of a reading session slash putting things onto my citations list session slash who knows if something else will come of this. I think I might show you guys an idea that has been clicking for this project that's going to be included in my final paper. I've been having a little bit of a weird, spiritual internal block recently. I just feel like I've almost had like YouTube block or just creative block. I don't know. I feel like everything that has come out of my mouth or has I have filmed recently, I've been like not um I don't know. I just feel like a little bit weird off whatever, but I thought it was going to be a bit important to make a video today just because I'm about to hit 40 texts. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, I hope you guys can see me. We had to switch to Teams because I got a new computer. Oh my gosh, life's been testing my patience recently because I'm one of those people who has that really annoying personality type where they think that everything happens for a reason and they always have to find some reason why everything is happening. And yeah, it's really been testing my ability to do that because I have not had any technological issues for like 2 years. And the minute I get into like this really sort of important computer intensive time, all of a sudden I'm having a new technological issue literally like every week, like phone, iPad, laptop, iPad again, laptop again. It's like every single week. And finally my laptop that I just paid to get fixed like 2 weeks ago gave out, which is so ridiculous. So I had to buy a new one. So I mean I'm lucky to have one, so I'm not gonna even complain, but I was just like, this is ridiculous. I just paid to get it fixed, and I've been trying to tell myself that it's for like the highest good somehow. There's a few I will be hypothesizing like anything. First of all, it gave me some time to sit with my ideas a little bit without having the pressure to keep working on it. I think like soak everything in. Also, what's the other like BS reason I made up? Oh, actually, this one might be true. I was like, um, my old laptop, I went on before I even got really that deep into the project, and I tried to get on Tenango, and it was having this glitch where something was not coming up. Like I couldn't get it to actually run what it needed to run. And I was really worried about that because I was asking ChatGPT, how do I fix it? How do I fix it? And nothing that ChatGPT was saying was working. So I was getting really nervous. This was months ago. So maybe it's like because it's now we're getting into the thick of it. It's like maybe for this last piece, I needed to have a different laptop because maybe my laptop just had an issue. So we're gonna choose to believe that. I'm gonna count how many texts I have really quick, and then I'm gonna add the ones that I have been reading recently. Okay, 35 in the actual document, but I've read some over the last few like week or two that I'm gonna go ahead and add in. So as usual, we're going back to ChatGPT. That I've also just been really agitated recently. Like I don't know. I think maybe I've been telling myself that I've been unlocking my like Devil Wears Prada Miranda Priestley personality type because I'm like a big shot now that I'm doing something like an actual project, you know? And I'm like, yeah, now I'm like just high strung and like everything needs to be perfect. So but I've actually been feeling so impatient and agitated. I read quite a few texts this week on long term memory, so I actually was having some really important thoughts about that. Trying to see what I already read. Everybody thinks that when they're like rich and successful, they're not going to be a Miranda Priestley. I've been trying to tell myself that. Honestly, I wouldn't mind being a Miranda Priestley. I just don't want to be like I'm saying this so I manifest it, right? Like I have to believe that one day I'll be like, rich. I just hope like this is all my fantasy world. This is all my fantasy world where I have to, you know what I mean? Like you have to get into the details. I hope that one day I'm not like one of those really jerky rich people that's like, you forgot the ice in my coffee or stuff like that. It's like so lame. But who knows? Maybe that's like part of the deal of like being a successful like one of those really successful people. I hope not. There's a lot of nice successful people though. First of all, I know that what's his name? Keanu Reeves, everybody says he's super duper nice. You never know. This is a thing, is like you never know with celebrities really because sometimes I hear Like I've heard stories recently about a certain celebrity. I'm not even gonna say their name because I don't believe the slander. And they were just saying like, oh yeah, this person didn't like I was their hairstylist for years and they never spoke to me when they sat down and stuff like that. And it's so rude. They never got to know me. Like I understand, but first of all, I don't know. I've never heard any other slander about this person and they seem pretty nice. But I'm like, also, I don't know. It's like they're kind of a human. Like, I don't know. There's this expectation for them to be like super, like, I don't know. I just feel like people, like, they'll just look for anything. I feel like they just want to slander you sometimes. This is coming from me just like seeing, because I think I just don't want to believe it. I'm like, I should, this person seems like such a nice person. I feel like, why is she expected to, like, but I understand. I guess this person, I'm speaking all like without showing you guys the actual information because I don't even want to spread the rumor, but I was like, come on now. Does everybody have to be like, you're my best friend in the world, like to everybody? A lot of female celebrities get that treatment too, and this person is a female celebrity. So I'm gonna be honest, I think the standards are higher for women because people expect women to be like the nicest, most docile creatures. And it's like maybe she was just not in the mood. Like, cause this person, the rumor or whatever, like this person was commenting that they were this person's hairstylist. And it's like maybe she just wasn't in the mood to talk when she was getting her hair done, It's like, I don't know. Is it that deep? I don't know. Every time I'm gonna be dead honest though. Every time I'm at like a hairstylist or something, I never want to speak. And then I feel like, I mean, I guess it is just like a basic, like, you want to be nice to people. So I always end up speaking. I think a lot of people would relate to this. I think I just like, I want to just, I'm never really that much in the mood for small talk, but I'll make it anyways and like, be nice. But, um, I don't know. I feel like usually, but I don't know. That's not me to speak to people. I was just like, I just thought it was a little bit much. And like, I don't know, to be up in somebody's business to that degree, it's like, just wasn't necessary. I'm gonna be honest, I never like believe celebrity unless it's something really extreme and a lot of people are really coming out about it. First of all, I don't really care. Like, I'm not like really that kind of person who's like, oh, I know everything about celebrity gossip and like I'm watching. Like, I don't care, to be honest. Like, I just don't. It's not my thing. It's funny sometimes, like, but I'm just not that kind of person that's gonna sit there and like people make like 40-minute exposés and stuff on celebrities. I'm like, it's just not my thing. But I don't know. Everyone's got their thing though. I guess it's some people's thing, but yeah. But usually when I see stuff about celebrities, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even gonna pay attention. If they seem nice, I don't care. If they're doing something evil and awful, I'll listen. I'll believe that. But sometimes I think people just get really like they expect celebrities to be like these like really like over the top nice people, and it's like they don't. I don't know, it's just like who cares? Like they don't like that. Or would you expect that of some random person on the street? Like no. So why are you all up in? Particularly, I'm thinking of the celebrities business because people are always trying to come for her and slander her and say something about her. I'm like, I'm being honest, she seems like overall a nice person. So as long as she's not like, destabilizing the democracy of a small country or like, doing some kind of horrible crime, like I couldn't care less that you had like a mediocre interaction with someone you don't even know. Like that happens to me all the time. I was in New York, I used to live in New York. People would be rude to me on the street. Like, I had someone on the train recently get really mad at me. I don't know them. What does it matter? Like, am I gonna sit there and have like a 40-minute video about how like Susie on the train, who I don't even know, like wasn't nice to me? It's like, who cares? They're a stranger. You get me? It's like people have these parasocial relationships, and it's like you don't know them, so why do you even care? I never. Why would I care what a stranger thinks about me? That person yelled at me. I was like, I'm gonna move on with my day. Okay, like who cares? Oh, I think I actually read quite a lot and didn't notice it. Like I've been reading, not realizing because this is now 38. I don't know. I just think sometimes people have to get a life, to be honest. And it's like you're just sitting there like talking about people you don't even know. And it's like, come on now. To a certain degree, like, doesn't it seem lame? Like, I don't know. I think it was a bigger thing when I was younger because like people would, I don't know, maybe it's not, maybe it's just as big now, but people used to actually get celebrity gossip magazines and it would have, everyone was all up in everyone's businesses with the messy divorces, with like the everything. And it's like, that is sad. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want. It makes me sad to hear about people's divorces. Like, that's so messy. Like, why are you? I mean, yeah, I guess they're looking like, whose fault is it and all this stuff. It's like, why do you even care? Like, what? That's so sad. And especially, I'm thinking again, I'm not gonna even say the names of the celebrities, but I have a certain couple in my head. They have a lot of kids, and it's like they're literally, I don't know, like you're like taking this like sick pleasure in the tragedy of like another person and like this really intense and emotional thing. As someone who has divorced parents, and like it wasn't even like I wasn't traumatized, but it's like I don't know, like especially when it's like people have kids and stuff, it's like you're sitting there like taking this sick pleasure and like this like really real life thing that's going on for like a couple and like people's children and etc. And it's like, doesn't that seem sad to you? I don't know, people have no lives, like get a life and stop like being all up in people's business. Okay, I think that's all I have for now. Let me see. I think that was text number 39. Okay, so I only have one more to hit 40. I'm gonna take a break because the first thing was I really just wanted to see how many texts I have, and then I'm gonna go off and make myself a grilled cheese sandwich and etc. etc. But yeah, I was just thinking that today. I was just like, particularly because the person they were slandering, again, like if someone's doing something evil, like if somebody is like killing small animals, this is like okay, this is the list of things you can come to me with. Someone's committing an actual crime, like an actual felony of some kind. If somebody's being abusive, okay. If somebody's killing a small animal or something, okay. If somebody is like I said, destabilizing the democracy of a small country, if somebody's committing war crimes, if somebody is, I don't even know, like involved in like some kind of human trafficking ring, something, anything like that, tell me. I will not support. I don't care. If you had a rude interaction with somebody, don't come to me with that. I don't care that you got your feelings hurt by someone you don't know. And like I just don't care. I'm gonna continue to like them, to be honest. Unless they're extremely problematic, they're doing something like extremely harmful. I don't care because it's not like I don't know them, so why would I care? It doesn't make sense. I don't know. I just think it doesn't make any sense. I don't listen to it. I still like this actress. She seems really sweet overall. She seems like a good person. I'm never gonna meet her. If I was her hairstylist and she didn't want to talk to me, I'd be like, well, she's blank blank. Why would she want to talk to me? Like I don't care, like to be honest with you. So I mean, I'm sorry that person got their feelings hurt. It's valid if that really like upset them, whatever, but it doesn't sound like they really communicated it to this person. Like they were never like, hey, like, we've never really had a conversation. I really want to talk to you. Like I think they just like were like building the resentment, and it's like, communicate. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like just these expectations for these random people that you don't know to like, I don't know, like I don't want to excuse it, but I just think sometimes people like just get really all up in people's business about stuff that I couldn't care less about. And it's like now you're expecting me to like think she's evil. It's like I don't. I'm sorry, I don't think she's evil. She seems overall like a pretty nice person, and maybe she just didn't want to speak to you. Like it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's so silly, and just people like the way people act on the internet. It's like you act like you know this person and like they're like your best friend in the world, and not what they've like betrayed you. It's like you have never spoken to them in your life and you probably never will. So, okay, off to make my grilled cheese. Okay, hope everything's good with it. Let's get back to it because I'm actually in a very grumpy mood today, like so grumpy, and I still have other stuff to do. But okay, so I'm gonna show you guys the little connection that I made, and then we're gonna read that last text to get to 40, and then I'll be 2/3 of the way done with this whole entire literature review challenge. Okay, I don't know if it's actually going to the, okay, this is my outline that I made, but it's not, this was like like me just putting my ideas together, so I don't know if it's probably not going to be written like this exactly, but I'm trying to put some of the connections that I've like, things I've lumped together in a spot so that I can come back to that. But I'm gonna see if I can find, where did it go? Basically, the thing that I'm trying to put together here is that basically in the rats, there's a change over time in multiple different areas. Okay, so let me show you. This one's important. This one's very important. Basically, okay, we got in one of the texts I just read. Let me find the exact word so that I need to actually put this into my literature review, but okay, basically when when it, when an animal makes a memory, so they looked at this in rat models. So within the first few days, the memory is actually much more sensitive to things like hippocampal lesions, meaning the memory is most likely still there in some capacity, like really, really more in the hippocampus. I really need to actually put all of this in so that it can be a little bit better like explained. But so at the 5-day mark in this study, the information was still, the response accuracy appeared in the same cluster as the hippocampal formation. Okay. So even at the 5-day mark, I guess the area of the brain that was lighting up when they went to sort of respond to something that had to do with that memory was still really mostly in the hippocampus. But then at the 25-day mark, this is just basically simply how memory works according to this. So the response was no longer in the hippocampal formation cluster, but instead part of a cluster that included cortical areas. I'm not going to say the well, from the frontal to anterior cingulate cortices. Okay. So basically, as time passes, there's a shift in which cerebral structures are engaged in the processing of information. Okay, so this is just basically simply how memory works. So over time, we already knew this. If you've been watching the videos, we already knew this. It moves from hippocampal memory to long-term memory. That's already planned. However, when I was reading it this time around, I started to make different connections when I was reading it like this. I was connecting it, first of all, to the fact that in dissociation, when people experience dissociation, if they, like, for example, if they experience peritraumatic dissociation, so dissociation during the trauma, usually over time, what you see with the dissociation symptoms is that they move basically from, they dissipate over time. So at the beginning, really strong, and then over time, the dissociation starts to fade and the symptoms start to fade, right? So obviously the symptoms fade over time. And actually, this was one of the reasons that they were able to, this is one of the things that the trauma model of dissociation uses to back the fact that their model they think is more accurate, because they're saying if people were just basically like, like a almost like a placebo effect, like if they thought that the symptoms, they were going to have dissociation symptoms, so because of their fake trauma they're having dissociation symptoms, you wouldn't see that same pattern of the dissociation symptoms fading over time. They would just always have the dissociation symptoms as long as they thought that the trauma was real. But usually you see that effect, that over time the dissociation starts to fade over time, and I would say like most situations. If someone's gone through a traumatic event, they got in a car crash or something, over time you see the dissociation start to fade, and it's always usually stronger around the time of the event. So what that's indicating to me personally is that I think even though it's taking maybe longer, you're still seeing that move um from hippocampal memory to long-term memory. I think that must be it, right? It must be over time going into that cortical memory because it's following that same pattern, right? That's my thinking. And then here also, I think now we're going to connect it to the acetylcholine. So here we have the rats that were exposed to long-term stress, inescapable stress, actually, inescapable stress. I'm going to paste it here. So the release of acetylcholine increased to 168% of baseline, and then declined slightly to 149% of control in the next 15-minute interval. So you're seeing that uptick in acetylcholine during the period of the trauma, and then it's declining slightly over time, but it's not necessarily, it's still higher than average, still significantly higher than the control, but it is fading over time. So you see how that would, it's higher than average, so it's contributing to the dissociation symptoms, and then this dissociation symptoms fading over time because the acetylcholine is still increased higher than average, but dropping. So I think that was probably like one of my strongest like pointers that I just found over the last few days, like a really strong connection there. So yeah, that's definitely something that I'm going to explore, and I think that that's like really key there, is that you consistently see that fading effect which I think it would make sense that it's probably because as the acetylcholine is decreasing, those memories are able to start encoding better, or at the very least the acetylcholine is not so strong, and so the effects of the acetylcholine are diminishing. So we'll see how that's going to play out, but I think that's a pretty strong connection there that shows probably the accuracy of what I'm saying. So, yeah, okay, now we're going to get into reading that last little text, but this is actually getting pretty exciting. I feel like I'm getting so much closer to actually writing this thing, and it's fun. It's nice because I'm not going into it empty-handed. Like I already have some strong connections I've been making as I go along. I still have some spaces where I think I need to read more, so that's gonna be maybe the end of this video. We're gonna go into that a little bit, but yeah. So let me finish this text really quick. Okay, I'm in my last 2 pages, but this whole project has just been driving home the intense importance of getting a good night's sleep. So much happens during sleep that it's just like what I'm reading right now is that actually, so when people here, I'll read it to you because it's talking about slow wave sleep and how consolidation and the sharp wave ripples are consolidation is happening during slow wave sleep. Like it's highly increased, actually like significantly higher amounts are of consolidation are happening in slow wave sleep. So what it says here, data suggests that slow wave sleep might be important for the declarative component of behavioral tasks that correspond most closely to episodic memories. Subjects are better at retrieval of word lists if they learn the list before falling asleep and are tested on retrieval when awakened in the middle of the night than if they learn the list after some hours of sleep and are tested in the morning. So, because most slow wave sleep occurs in the early part of the night, this suggests greater importance of slow wave sleep for memory consolidation. I find that really interesting, and I've noticed that so much. Remember, in another video, I said that a lot of times, the times that I would get the most crisp fragments of trauma memories that I couldn't usually always remember in the morning, but I got like this really like strong feeling it was right when I would go to sleep. It's something would start to piece together, and it would usually I'd pretty much be like almost asleep, and then I'd like wake up, or like I'd just fallen asleep and I'd sort of like wake up in a daze and sort of like see it or something, and then I'd just fall back asleep. So that's one way. But also sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, like I'm kind of half awake, and I have some really weighty concept on my head, or I've like processed something like really deep, and then I usually wake up and I don't always 100% remember what I was processing in the middle of the night, but a lot of times when I wake up in the middle of the night, like something has like really like it's like something, I wake up with something really really weighty about my life, or have some kind of realization in the middle of the night that I can't always like piece together in the morning. But I know it's not, it's always something really deep about my life, or you know, something I've been sitting with. So it is pretty interesting. But I've just been really like really learning from this, like get a good night's sleep, and like that is so important to how you process the world. I actually read once that somebody said, for example, to people with borderline personality disorder, they said that the most important thing that people could do with like the one of the things that would help the most and make the biggest difference for people with like schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, is just getting more sleep. Just getting a good night's sleep is so important, and I think that so many mental illnesses are like go along with insomnia. So I think, yeah, I think it's definitely speaks to, to how important sleep is for people with mental illness, or if you're, you know, going through really trying to learn something or whatever, like sleep. I'm gonna add the text for you here, and we are officially 2/3. Is that right? Yes, 2/3 of the way done. 20, 40, 60. Yes. Math. A neuromodulation, acetylcholine, and memory consolidation. I will say I was mad that I had to spend the money on a new laptop. It's refurbished, so it was not horrible, but I was like, I was a bit mad, but it's nice because my old laptop did not have the it was like a US one. So it didn't have the pound sign and things like that. So I was always having to copy paste it. So, you know, see, everything's for a reason. Like everything happens for a reason in my distorted perception of the world. It's saying it added it, but where is it? Okay. Um Where, oh my gosh. It's giving me my whole entire list that isn't even accurate anymore. Randomly decided to give me my entire list out of the blue. Have I? This is my second text that I've read of this person. That's so interesting. Oh, I literally just read the, okay, that's funny. Well, thank you to this person. What are they called? Michael E. Haselmo. Yes, thank you, because he's writing everything I need to learn. Like, all his texts have been really good. Wait a minute, that's not right. Oh, it is right. So then we have another one missing. There we go. So now we officially have 40. What I'm gonna do really quickly is that I'm gonna make a list of everything that all the themes that need to be covered and everything I need to know, and I'm gonna see if there's any gaps and any questions, because we're in the last 20 texts. Like I know I'll get everything, but I just want to make sure that I'm gonna get everything that I need. So off we go to a new document. This is crazy. This is actually, I think, the third text I've read of him. The role of acetylcholine in learning and memory. So we have one, we have two, neuromodulation, acetylcholine and memory consolidation. Three, acetylcholine and memory. So I'm just reading this person's entire research portfolio. I think some of them he wrote with other people, but even so, it's kind of funny. Like, I think, like, for example, this should have another author in it. It should also be with James M. Bauer. So I'll just make note to just check this one. I should just make sure at the end that I check all of my citations, that everybody's like good, you know? But yeah, he's now this is the third time on accident that I've been reading everything he wrote. Okay, so this one is just gonna be, I'm just gonna call it checklist. What we want to make sure we have in here, I'm not even gonna change the font. This. Okay. We need to have, obviously, let's look at my outline. Structural dissociation, and that's gonna include things like the definitions. I'll say like the debate. This is one debate here. What is dissociation? Next, we want to have, just in general, I'll say mechanisms of trauma. I'm going off what I've already kind of read. So I've already read quite a bit on the mechanisms of trauma. I don't know where to include this. Is, I guess, trauma model versus fantasy model, and I read like a few texts on that, but I do want to include that because that's central to why I've sought this question out. I'm looking for this answer. And then we're gonna have everything that's going in the neural network. So we want to have hippocampal memory. Here's where I'm having gaps, because I want to know, for example, how does hippocampal memory work? I've been touching on it a little bit in some of these texts, but I don't even think I've like learned enough. Like, what happens? How is hippocampal memory accessed too? Because I know that it is, because I've been reading it in text a little bit. Maybe I actually have enough, but I just want to make sure that I really fully understand hippocampal or short-term memory. Next, we have hippocampal memory, sharp wave ripples. I need to get better at speaking about the sharp wave ripples, because like I don't fully, I don't know, like are the ripples oscillating in gamma synchrony? Is that right? I don't think that's right. But okay, what are they? What do they do? And then I'm gonna include the gating mechanism here. I think that's just sort of included in the territory. I'm gonna write CA1 and CA3 because I want to make sure I fully understand everything about how those work together and like what do they do. Again, I think a lot of these things are sort of spread out in all of my texts, and I think actually when I put things in my literature review, it's so good for me because it's like a review of everything that I've learned. So I think I end up just getting a deeper, like I go back over everything, and then I'm writing it, so I think that really jogs my memory and like solidifies the knowledge. So I need to really anchor in on that, but I've been focused on getting my text done. Gating mechanism, CA1 and CA3, what is the other thing? I want to understand if I should be focusing on gamma synchrony, and should that be in my neural network? Like, I just think I just generally don't have enough understanding there. That's going to go back to reading one text that I actually read way before all this, way before I even knew I was going to build the neural network. So
That was the one that actually introduced me to the hippocampal short-wave ripples. So I'm gonna go back to that. And then we have, I'm just gonna write here acetylcholine. How does it work? And then I guess acetylcholine in stress. And lastly, we're gonna have long-term memory. Long-term memory. How does it work? I'm gonna ask another question here. How does it relate to self? I haven't really answered that. And then finally we have another, like, I think another area that I just haven't really anchored in on enough that I'm gonna start soon because I have some text, but I guess my narrative function here, we have like I or sense of self. What do we know, right? That's a big question. I don't know how much I want to read about that. Narrative function, how do we build a narrative about ourselves? Am I correct in saying also in assuming that hippocampal memory wouldn't affect, like, wouldn't yet jog or integrate as yourself, you know? I think it's pretty, I think that that's been pretty intuitive for me, but I want to make sure that that's accurate, that if something is in your short-term memory, I don't think that your short-term memory is as indicative of you, because it's not, it's just things that happen in your day. For example, like I went for a walk today, a really long walk, but I don't think those things are really me yet. So I need to make sure that that's accurate before I base a lot of my information on that. And just in general, like in general, what have other researchers done? So yeah, I think that's my big list of everything that I think needs to be here. And I think the main places that I haven't gotten enough information yet, I'm gonna finish reading the text that I have, but I definitely have not gotten enough information yet on hippocampal memory. Oh no, I need to make sure. I think I've gotten now like quite a good amount on this gating mechanism. I have some texts that are really sort of angled in on this, but I just want to make sure I have this. And just everything relating to sharp wave ripples, I want to make sure that I'm truly like deeply understanding them, which is probably going to just involve going back to the text I've already read, but I might read more, who knows. And then just the whole narrative function piece, I've been kind of, okay, I think that I'm going to save that. I was reading thinking, okay, I was thinking this while I was reading, but I think I'm going to save some of those texts more for the end, because I think I want to expand my reading there like quite a bit. And I think I just want to get everything that I need from over here, and then jump into the narrative function element, because I think that one is more heading towards my methods section than anything. So I think it'll be good for that to be fresh on my mind, and I'll probably be making up I've already been thinking about it today. I've already been thinking about, oh, what kind of memories do I feed it? I've been thinking about what I want these memories to look like, and how much do I need them to include. So I think that goes back to my last video about my second hypothesis, but I'm thinking like they should maybe be very focused on I don't know, location and in relationship to a space, like maybe I really do need to read about that, but it's maybe a relationship to a space. I don't know. We'll see. See, that's something that needs to go at the end, and I think is really important. Yeah. So that's that. And then really quickly, I'm just gonna write here so that I don't forget some phrases that I need to really do a study session together. Some stuff like feed forward structures and etc. I think that's right, but I really need to understand that better before I build my neural network. So yes, okay, let's get out of here.
Okay, we are now officially 40 texts in. Actually, 40 texts was my original goal that I had set, like off the top of my head, before I knew that I had to do a little bit better. I had actually asked ChatGPT like how many texts would I have to read to make this like academically sound and like respectable, because I want to publish it, and it said 40 to 60, so I was like, oh, easy, I'll do 40. But as I was reading other texts, I realized that all of them had like at least 60, and I was like, oh no. No, that means I should probably read much more than that. So yeah, so that's why I set my goal to 60. It is very likely that I will end up reading more than that by the end of everything, and I truly hope so. But once I hit 60, unless there's something really crucial that I still need to learn, I'm jumping into my methods section, and I'm jumping, or not my methods section, but I'm jumping into figuring out how to build my neural network, which is going to be quite the task. But yes. Okay, bye.